Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today we are off to a slightly different adventure. We're actually going to travel back in time and see the replica of the original ship from 1600s called Kalmar Nyckel. Now the original ship was built in 1638 by Dutch for Swedish Navy, and they used it to sail to New World and their colonies there. As soon as you approach this replica ship, you see the huge amount of detail that's this build. And if you were to compare the image of the original and this particular replica, it looks very similar. They made everything look like and function. I'm assuming just like the old ship. I'm sure they used some modern technology there, which we're probably gonna find out in a second when we go in. As soon as you step on the deck of this ship, it feels like you're in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. It's almost like you feel like Jack Sparrow is going to yell at you any second and you're going to see the crew. I know I've said that before, but the detail of the ship is just so amazing. The sails, all the other moving parts of this boat, and of course the cannons you're going to see here in a second. They're positioned around the deck, and they do have to, like, it's almost like if it feels like you're back in 1600s and you're about to sail one of those pirate ships or a ship of that time. It's definitely remarkable, I think, experience. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit and I'll let the crew talk because I think it'll be more interesting than me talking.
So we are in the bow of the ship. Behind me is the forecastle. The forecastle is where the original crew would have cooked, eaten, slept. Basically, half the crew was on duty, half the crew was off duty. When the crew that was off duty came on duty, they would obviously come on duty. The guys coming off duty would jump into their nice warm bedrolls. That sounds kind of gross, but on the other hand, they were crossing the ocean January through March. It was pretty darn cold, and I'm sure they very much welcomed those warm bedrolls. We do not sleep there; we sleep below. But back then, the hold was too valuable for the sailors. That was where the cargo was. I'm sitting on the first of several simple machines you're going to see today. This is called a windlass. Those of you who are used to sailing, modern day boats might be used to winches. It's usually a little metal thing you wrap a line around and you have a crank. This is exactly the same thing. It's just our lines are a lot bigger and it takes more people. So what happens is you wrap a line around. That might be an example of a line we would wrap around. You put 4 poles in. We'll put 2 people on each pole, and the one person will be pulling that line, and I'll explain in a minute what it does. And they will say, keep around, and all together, the 8 people will come down to here. Obviously, you can't go past horizontal, and at that point, we engage the brake. This is called a fall, and then we can pull our bars, put them back, and do it again. So we use this for things like moving our 900-pound anchors with Jane Bowen. So it takes a lot of people. And this gives us a 10-to-1 mechanical ratio with 8 people in this split. And that allows us to lift like 900 pounds.
Wow. Pretty impressive.
It is. And it's a lot of teamwork. So
Well, I can imagine.
it's really a fun ship to work on.
If you suck in the ship, do you want to be friends?
Yeah, we're all volunteers. So they help you do things. Right now we're voyaging, because we're out of our local territory. So usually it's a week, Saturday to Saturday.
Oh, wow.
All right, I have to send you back to the next station. You're going to see another simple machine called Capstone. Thank you.
They definitely modernized this ship a bit to make it a little easier to sail. They added the engines and they changed the cargo space into living quarters. And I'm not sure there's actually AC in here too, but I'm sure it could be possible. And I'm sure there's like electrical hookup too, so they can get some power here. And a lot of other gadgets for navigation and other purposes. But the original theme of that ship that was built in 1638 is still there. I'm sure the sails still operate similarly, and along with a lot of other things. I mean, it's definitely has that, still has that charm.
And we can see the main sail, the main force, the yard and the sail. We got it up there without any other crane than the one we built right here. We used this to put the line on, and we hauled that medium-sized car. They probably still up there with as many as 16 feet up here. That would have been further back, out of the way. And this would keep us going backwards. All the lines here do something. They're here for a purpose. They're used. We have about 8 miles, a little more than 8 miles of line in use, plus spares.
Now, do you use all of this?
Oh yes, yes. Each one, just like in a movie. Yeah, each one has a real purpose and a real job. Do it manual. So, yes, and they were smart in those days. This is, we're talking the early 17th century. All of the lines came to the deck. The sail handling, so they did everything from the deck. Much smaller crew. I think it's good, yeah. Crew meant that the boss had more money, and more importantly, the sailor got paid more. Each sailor got more. And it was one of the only jobs in the world at that time where you got a place to stay, you got fed, and you got paid. That was very rare. Where you guys sailed from? The original ship founded Wilmington, Delaware, as a trading center, which it still is. Of all the original colonies, it's exactly what we set up for. And that's where our Newport was. We're there during the school year. And that's why resource. Yes. Well, I got pictures of it.
So, come on over. What I was sharing was that I'm 62, and I took my climbing test today, which is if you hold it to a rope within 10 yards of your feet up, or legs apart. And I passed it today, and I was able to go up.
And here are those current day navigation gadgets I was referring to before. See how they have a whole navigation system. But I think it looks like they still have some of the paper maps, because I guess you could relay in the GPS, but it doesn't always, it's not always 100%, I guess you could say. And here is where Jack Sparrow would hang out. And well, those are actually captain's quarters, and I think they reflect that time pretty well, at least what I've seen in the movies. Like all those, you know, the pirate movies I've seen, or other movies I've seen about that particular time period. I think those quarters definitely look like they, to what at least what I'm used to.
Alright, so I want to tell you about this. This is a whipstaff which goes down below the deck to a tiller, which goes out to the rudder. So, this shows you better how it happens. Here's the tiller, here's the rudder. So the whipstaff, if I want to turn to the right, turn to the right, which turns the tiller to the left and the rudder to the right. So I don't have to go backwards. Going to the left, same thing. Turns the tiller to the right and the rudder to the left. So it makes it easier, you know, for us to steer. But what's not easy is for us to look where we're going. Take a look at my view. You see it? So the person in charge who's conning can see everything, and they yell down the commands to us, which we have to know, and we execute the commands. So it's a lot of trust and a lot of teamwork. And I want to tell you before you go that we are a Kalmar Nyckel Foundation is a nonprofit organization, and we do rely on donations. If you feel like you'd like to donate, there's a treasure chest right here. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
And that's what they would have relied on if they didn't have the GPS system or navigation, a map. I still remember days when people would use maps to travel, and it was such a pain trying to look at things on the map. So I can only imagine how it is looking at that map where you're out in the sea and you're trying to figure out where you're going, or in the dark. So I think the GPS definitely, you know, it comes pretty handy when you sail. But they did not have that in 17th century, so they had to rely on the maps and other tools, visual tools, I guess you could say, to navigate. And I'm sure it was not easy. Now, at the end of the tour, there's a little gift shop you can buy things. I actually personally bought a T-shirt, or there's a treasure chest if you like to donate. Which if you like the trip, if you like the tour. And honestly, I think the actual tour was amazing. I can only imagine what it's like to go and sail on this boat. Which next time they're going to be coming over here, I'm hoping to try to book it as soon as possible, because it must have been such an amazing, great experience to get out on this ship, which I know it has the electric motors, so it may not be like some people might say, oh, it may not be like a real, 1600s restored ship, but you still get that feel. I think it's a very well made replica, and it reflects that time very well, and it's very detailed. If you look at the carvings, like everything else, the sail, like all of the craftsmanship around the ship is actually, I think it's amazing. Now, a little bit of background for this replica ship. In 1986, a group of people in Delaware got together and they decided to start a foundation to build this replica. Now, this modern replica was designed by the architect Thomas Gilmer and Ivor Franzen with additional help from Melbourne Smith, Joe Welter, Ken Court. And it was built in the Wellington shipyard, Christina River, near the original location of the Fort Christina, which would be the site for the original ship to actually land. That's where that ship from 1600 used to land around that area, and it's amazing that they were actually able to launch it right in that same location. Most of the crew are actually volunteers on the ship, with the exception of the captain. I think that's the only person who gets paid. And also everyone who does the maintenance on the ship also are volunteers. So it's a great effort that people are being a part of. As soon as we step on the dry land, I guess you see you're back in the 21st century. There's a ferry in the background you see over there behind the ship. People walking around. And there's, of course, some people, I guess, who miss the ferry. They enjoy a little cocktail or meal at the bar here, or like I said, the restaurant here.
So sad.
And in the park, there's a Shakespearean play. They usually have bands in this particular area, this particular park, but I guess today they decided to do a play.
If this be all, gentlemen, I hear no harm.
Oh, sir, such a life with such a wife was strange.
I are all hanger.
In the background there, you probably can barely see this famous Greenport carousel.
Have I not in my time been lions? You tell me about a woman's tongue, which gives on it.
Right next to the carousel, they put this nice little mist here too, so you can cool down on a very hot day. I think the heat went down a little bit in the evening, so it is a little better, but it still feels warm. But it's nice to see everybody's out, enjoying their day or vacation, and people at the restaurants. It's around 8 o'clock right now, and we're trying to, at this point, we're going to find a place to eat and have dinner. Everything looks pretty packed, so I guess we're going to see what happens. On that note, I would say thank you for watching again, and until next time.